We're obviously excited. The game's getting closer. We still have 4 quality practices ahead. Our team has done very well for over the last month. We've avoided distractions, and I think they're starting to create a little bit of an identity for themselves this year. And I still like our speed on defense. I like our attitude. We're still getting steady play in the offensive line. Both quarterbacks have continued to improve and play well. We've got a number of receivers that can run around and catch the ball, and tailbacks. We're still developing a young back behind Jeremy. I'm comfortable with our kicking game. So really anything that I would say now would just be what I've already said over the last 3 weeks. There hadn't been any change in the way I feel about our team and where we're at this point. We need to continue to practice well over the next 4 or 5 days, and we'll find out where we're at a week from this Saturday.
What is it about Jeremy that makes you confident he's going to be the guy that runs this football team?
Well, one is because he's the next guy. And 2, he's played well and scored and made some good runs against really good quality opponents in our league over the last couple of years.
What do you remember from the 1999 Mississippi State game?
I wasn't here. I don't remember any of it. Who won?
Mississippi State.
Good.
Mike, do you have a concern? Is there something that's just on your mind every day that you're concerned about as you approach this opener?
Talking about politics or football?
Football.
Just first game. You always have players that go out and haven't played, don't have any experience, and how they'll react in the first game.
How about politics?
I don't have enough time, Barry.
Getting players' attention this year, not a problem. Last year, when you're playing Savannah State and trying to convince the guys that they need to take it seriously, did you feel like they were listening to what you're saying, or they kind of knew what they were into, as contrasted to this year?
I think the players know what they're into by watching tape, and last year we never tried to convince them anything other than what was up, and that we needed to try to perform at our highest level, not concern ourselves with who we were playing. And this year we have the advantage of playing a good football team, and they can watch the tape and make those decisions on their own.
Mike, you want to tell us who your starting quarterback is today?
We're going to play both guys. I mean, it hadn't changed since the spring, and both quarterbacks have improved, and I don't really know any other way to say it. That same thing I've said for the last 5 months is both guys are doing a good job, and we're glad we have them, and they'll both get a chance to play.
And you think both of them will play extensively in that first game? You'll not the backup's not going to get 2 or 3 plays. He's going to play.
Well, I don't know. It'd be hard for me to predict reps, but I don't feel like either one of them will be a backup in the first game.
Did they both start and put one at receiver, just so they both get a start?
I hadn't thought about that.
How much have you worked on your short yardage? How's the deal you sort of with the package with Walsh last year? You put mid-season to some degree. Is that something you've been working on through the spring and the summer? Or is that something you do once the season gets?
We've tried to improve in that in all areas in short yardage, with or without JW in the package. My opinion on this style of offense that we've been in now for 4 years, I guess, if there's an area of concern, it's inside the 3-yard line in short yardage, and so we've worked considerably on it over the last 9 months.
Like, it doesn't really change how your offense works depending upon who you have at quarterback, right? I mean, you're pretty much doing the same stuff with both those guys.
Well, we have the same offense, but we try to play the strengths of whoever's in there, just like we did last year with the three of them. They all are comfortable with the style of offense and the plays that we have, but they're different in what they bring to the table. So I would hope that we would call the plays that benefit the guy that's playing quarterback at that particular time.
Does your security have a feel for the strengths of those two guys?
I think so.
In the past, you said you don't like two quarterback systems. What's changed with these two?
Well, I don't like two quarterback systems if we have one that's better than the other, one that's more experienced, and each year's different. Now we have two quarterbacks who have relatively the same amount of experience, and so we're obligated to give both of them an opportunity to play in the game. We feel like that they can each provide something for the team to give us a chance to be successful this year.
Can you comment on how each of these new coordinators have assimilated into their roles?
Well, Glenn has been here for a number of years, so he was very familiar with our personnel. We really haven't adjusted very much on defense, more of an attitude and a little bit of an approach. And then Mike Yursich, I feel like understands our offense and the strength of our players, and just like Todd and Dana, and when I was calling it, he'll have things that he feels like that he wants to call that give us the best chance to win based on his opinion. They're all different, and I see that growing over the last month, and I would say throughout the season when he gets a better feel for our offense and playing it in games at this level.
Mike, can you talk about Nathan Peterson being on your staff now and how that kind of came about?
Nathan came to me after he returned home, and I think he got into private business a little while and said that he wasn't happy and he wanted to be around football. And Nathan has always been an overachiever. He's a lifelong cowboy, and he's a Marine, which I have a lot of respect for. And so I said, if you want to do it, you need to go down and have a conversation with Glenn Spencer. And if you still feel like that you want to put the time in, and you can contribute and help us. And from that point on, he's been really good.
Which true freshmen do you anticipate playing in that first game?
We're not sure yet. We have some that will travel, and just based on if there was an injury situation that we'd have to play them. But right now, we're not really sure if we're going to play any or not.
What do you expect from Matt this year?
Well, he should be a good player in this league. He was a good player for us last year, and now he's gained that year of experience. He's been one of the more mature players that we've had come into Oklahoma State as a 2-year performer, and his attitude's been good. His health's been good. So I think he should have a good year.
Mark, are you settled on your kicking game and who's going to do what?
Yes. Yeah, well, Kip's going to punt for us.
Calvin had several penalties a year ago. Do you see him maturing past that kind of thing going on?
Once we got through the Arizona game, he was much better in that area. And, I joked with him that he has to learn to adapt to this level and playing against these type of players in this league at this level and the officiating, and he accepted that, and I think he has better control of his actions.
How different is the approach going into a road game at a neutral site as opposed to a true road game?
It's a road game for us. There's a big advantage in playing in this stadium. We're not playing here, so it's basically a road game.
Mike, has this preseason been similar to the year that you played Georgia in the fact that you're facing a team you expect to be physical, and has it resulted in you guys maybe being more physical?
Yes.
What is that consistent? When you say you're more physical in August, what does that actually mean?
Now we have to put more time in, and we have to have more drill work and competition where there's guys that are hitting each other than what we would if we weren't playing an opponent of that type until the middle of September. And so it's almost like being in a Little League baseball tournament and you have to throw your ace in the first game instead of saving him till you get to the winner's bracket finals. No, we got to throw him in the first game.
Is the downside potential injury, or and if you come out okay, then it's all the same, or do you worry about wear and tear? What's the downside?
Every one of those areas. I don't know that anybody ever can say one way or the other. I think everybody has an opinion. We have an opinion. It's a pretty hot topic right now. I know that our season has been extended. I think the end of our season is December 6th. Is that correct? So we've now almost asked college players to carry an NFL-type schedule on their bodies. And if we were playing a different type game for the first couple games, we wouldn't pick up the pace until the middle of September to try to do the best we can to take care of and protect our athletes and give them the best chance for success late in the year.
Does this give you a better look at what kind of team you are earlier?
I would say yes.
In what ways?
Well, I don't know what you're asking me. You asked me if it was. I don't know what you're asking me.
The topic that you're on right now, if you're playing a Mississippi State, does it give you a better gauge on who your team is, what talent you have, what questions you may have on defense or kicker or quarterback or whatever, or offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator? You can answer those questions better having played somebody like Mississippi State?
Oh, no doubt, yeah.
With a long schedule, August 31, December 6th, you've got, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 open dates, but do you like open dates in the middle of the season? Is that good recovery time, or some coaches just
I would prefer to have one open date. If you go back and do the study and the history on our team in practice and in games, our injuries have been considerably higher in open dates than they have been on routine weeks.
Injuries in practice, you mean?
And in games.
You mean after an open day? You mean injury, a game after an open day?
Or the week or two prior to.
I wonder what that is.
Routine.
Really?
Breaks are routine.
Mike, you get 3 open dates, I think, is what it is. It makes you have 12 games over 15 weeks, which is almost an NFL schedule. I mean, is that really kind of a wear and tear by the time you get to, I don't even think you play Thanksgiving weekend.
We don't. We get to sit for 2 weeks and play on December 6th.
Is that how hard is that to try to figure out how you want to do? Because I don't know if you've ever had 3 open dates around here.
Again, we play the hand we've been dealt, but I'm not a fan of extended seasons, and we try to work our way through it. It is an unusual situation, and we just try to do the best we can. I think it's us in Oklahoma, and somebody else has I think December 6th game. I'm not for sure, but I think there's 4 teams that play December 6th. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just us in Oklahoma.
Taylor, Texas.
Yeah, so there's 4 teams that play December 6th. I'm sure that Coach Brown or Coach Bryles or Bob may have an opinion on it, but that's just my opinion.
When you look at a guy who's got over his term, like Jeremy, he's got that positive attitude, does he hold a special place in your perspective?
Yeah, he's been a starter for us for 3 years, basically. He and Joe Randall, and even when Kendall was here, we were working Jeremy in some. He wasn't getting as many reps, but his practice time has been the same, and then especially over the last 2 years with Joe, those guys got a considerable amount of reps. And so I don't really see that Jeremy's approach is any different. Where I'm most proud of him is after his first year here, he almost went home. And then he decided that he wanted to stay, and I think that's really benefited him in life as a person. Forget football. He's going to graduate from college and been a part of a team, and I think he learned to persevere in times that he may have felt like he couldn't.
Do you lean on him more so than the last couple of years where he and Joe kind of shared the role? Or do you lean on Jeremy more this year?
Yes. Yes. We don't have an experienced back other than Jeremy. The last couple of years we had two, and so you had two guys there. But right now we're trying to develop a younger player. But Jeremy's the most experienced player we have by far.
Mike, you talked about first game. One question annually is just how new players will play in a game situation. Do you have any question about that concerning Yurcich stepping up from the level he was to the level he is, or that's no concern to you?
I don't have any concern because our offense, there's a certain number of plays we call them. We call them and run them, and then we have a third and short and a goal line package. That's really it. And if Mike Leach wasn't a good friend of mine, I wouldn't say it. But you've seen his call list, and ours is a little bit bigger than that. But for the most part, it's the same concept. It just looks a little different in the way that we approach it.
How has Tracy changed since his injury last season? What change have you seen in this camp?
You would have to ask Tracy, but from the outside looking in, I think that he now appreciates the opportunity to play college football. And we all take for granted things that we have until we lose them. And when he got hurt and had to sit the next couple months, I think he realized how much he really enjoyed being a part of the team and playing college football.
Has it changed how he's led the team at all that you've noticed?
He's really the same. Our football team is, we have 130 guys on our team and 85 guys on scholarship, and really like 47 guys that have played at this level and have contributed somewhat. And we don't really have any issues on our team. They're good kids. They understand. They fall in line. They appreciate what they have, and so they're the same pretty much all the time now.
What kind of camp does Justin Gilbert have for you?
He had a good camp. And this will be an interesting year for him. He did not play very well last year. He'll be the first to admit that. And he had a good off season, and he's had a good camp. And so I think that he'll play well and make some plays.
What's the biggest change? Why would he be better this year compared to last year?
I think last year there were people outside our program that told him if he protected himself, he'd be a first-round pick, and he believed it. I think he figured out that didn't work very well.
Protect themselves, don't get injured?
I think it's just people outside of college football that don't have the best interest of the young men, and they tell them one thing and they don't really have a clue what they're talking about. That's just my opinion. I don't know any of that to be true. I've seen it years and years and years. I didn't have any other explanation for not playing very well. But Justin's a smart kid, and I think he understands that and is excited about playing this year and helping our team and maybe continuing to play in years to come.
It's been your smoothest game on and off the field. I mean, there's been no news really, which is a good thing, I guess.
And earlier I said that I think our players have handled the most critical part of a football team in college football is avoiding distractions. And that's what we all worry about from when spring ball is completed in April up until we get to kick it off next week. And, it's never over. I mean, they're 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. You think back to yourself at that age and you scratch your head a little bit. So as long as they can take care of themselves, I'm pleased with their approach. And we need to practice well the next few days, and then they need to go play hard. And I'm confident they'll do that. But there's a commitment to be made in avoiding distractions at their level. And up to this point, it's been pretty smooth.
Last season, you kind of surprised everyone by saying that you expected Joseph Randall to be the leading receiver. Is there a guy this year that you kind of see fitting that role of, this is going to be his year? I mean, is there anyone that sticks out in your mind after camp and a couple practices?
We have a number of guys that are experienced in returning, and then we have some really good young prospects that we'll just wait and see how they flourish as the season progresses. It'd be really hard for me to say who could get a number of catches this year.
Charlie said that Josh Stewart and David Glidden would be punt return guys, and they both look a lot better. Is that true?
That's awesome. Is he coaching now?
That's what he said.
Oh. I know Josh is, and Glidden's been back there, and Rashad Samples, and those guys have seemed to done well catching the ball.
Who's returning kicks with Gilbert?
Des Rowland, he did it with him last year.
Is there anybody on the squad that really hasn't played much, or we don't know anything about this? In your mind, you know he's a good football player and going to make an impact, and going to surprise us on the outside, but you're pretty sure he's going to be a player this year.
I think that there's some wideouts that could fit that category. Guys in camp that have played well, and it's coaches talk, but it's really the truth. They hadn't done anything yet. Seals has made some plays in camp. Shepard's made some plays in camp. Glidden is back to making plays. Defensively, Sam Wren has made plays and shown signs of being able to compete at this level. Jimmy Bean has started to show up some. Tyler Patman has made plays in camp, which means that they've been good up to this point, but I'm sure Mississippi State could care less. But they've taken care of their side, and they put themselves in position to have a chance to make some plays.
When fans hear Mississippi State, what do you think? Mississippi State, SEC speed, big conference power. When you turn on the tape, what do you see?
Well, I think there's a lot of truth to that. You have a team that is big in the interior on both sides of the ball. They got a quarterback that's going to be in NFL camp. They got a running back that can play. Their linebackers are fast and big. They look like SEC players. There are question marks. Everything that you hear out of their camp, and just from knowing what's going on, is they lost two really good corners, just like we lost some players at key positions. But we feel like we have guys that can step up and make plays. I'm sure they feel the same way. So what you get from a team or from Mississippi State is exactly what you said. You're getting a lot of mass up front. Now, they do happen to have what I think is an NFL quarterback. I said the same thing about the guy at Arizona last year. I think this guy's an NFL quarterback. So you have to be ready to play. Any time that you're at this level and you compete against a team that has a potential NFL quarterback, it's always a challenge.
That being said, that's a good test for your defense right off the bat that people are talking about.
No question. It's a good test for us right off the bat. Good.